Curious about the Rio Rancho real estate market? Check it out. Hey, Tony Legendry here with Legendry Properties, here with February 2019's Rio Rancho real estate market update. I want to highlight to you guys just a couple statistics and then what that means to you. So, average days on market for those homes that have actually successfully sold in the last 6 months, it's taken 21 days on average. We're seeing a difference in active listings. So those properties that are still marketing themselves for sale, the average days on market for them is 47. So what does this mean, and why is there a difference between 47 for the ones that are actively for sale and the number 21 for those that successfully sell? Well, I'd like to point out a real key indicator. In the first 30 days that you're on market, you have the most likely to have success in selling your home here in Rio Rancho. And the consumer is most excited about your home within the first 30 days. So price it correctly out the gate. What we find is as days on market goes up, list price to sales price ratio goes down. In other words, the longer your house is on the market, the less you actually get for your house, and the less chance you have in selling it. So price it right out of the gate. The median sales price in Rio Rancho right now is $195,000, with the two top price ranges selling in $150,000 and $250,000. Those two spots are super hot. In fact, we'll see here in a moment, anything under about 300 goes fairly quickly in Rio Rancho. Another key number that we like to look at is the PEND ratio. What the PEND ratio is it asks the question, how many of the homes that are currently on the market already have an offer on it? We say that anything over a 25% PEND ratio is a good sign for sellers. That means that the inventory is coming off the market fairly quickly. Right now, we have a PEND ratio of 42.1%. In other words, a little more than 4 out of 10 listings or 2 out of 5 are already taken. Buyers have already chose them and put an offer in them and gotten acceptance from the seller. And pending those inspections and financing contingencies, they will go to closing. So that's the overall market. Let's look at the market in specific. So when you're talking as a Rio Rancho homeowner, you want to know the overall market in Rio Rancho, and then you want to look more specifically at your price range that you could be in. You can download this report through the link below and read through in more detail. You can see, how do we measure a market, a buyer's market versus a seller's market versus a balanced market? We measure the market by supply. So months of supply of homes for sale. In other words, with current buyer demand, how many months would it take for there to be no supply or no more homes for buyers to look at because they were all bought? We say that between 5 and 7 months is a balanced market. Anything over 7 months is considered to be a buyer's market. In other words, buyers are in the driver's seat when it comes to negotiation. They just simply have more choice in inventory and more choice in the amount of homes that they can look at. So when they're negotiating with sellers, they're more in the driver's seat and they can oftentimes ask for more. Anything under 5 months, and as you approach that 0 month mark, it becomes a seller's market, and it gets hotter and hotter and hotter as we approach 0. So you can see here the months of inventory by price range, and you can see where a shift starts to happen in Rio Rancho. But everything under 300,000, we would consider to be in a hot seller's market, indicated by the red. 2.6 months of supply between 250 and 300, 1.9 months of supply, 2 to 250. Check this one out, 150 to 200. If you've been thinking about selling your house and you think that your price range is between 150 and 200, there's only 21 days of inventory. In other words, if another house was not to come on the market In 21 days, there would be no houses to look at. Can you imagine if you were the only house listed in a price range in a geographic area, what that could do with multiple offers and where that could go for you? 0.9 between 100 and 150, so it's about 27 days. And then below 100, there's about 1.2 months of inventory. So just over 30 days there. Check this out. Between as we approach 300 plus, we start to get into a balanced market. Between 300 and 400, this is where buyers nor sellers have the advantage in negotiation. In other words, there's enough inventory for buyers to go find another home and negotiate over that home, but there's still not enough inventory that they have a lot of choice. So if you're sitting across the table and you're a seller and you're negotiating in the 300 to 400 range, you may negotiate based off of that, but you're going to have to give and take. If you're in a seller's market, you may be able to take a little bit more than you give. As we bust through that 400 barrier, we saw a tremendous increase in the inventory. In fact, last month there was 5.2 months. It was considered a balanced market. Now we're at 10.1 months of inventory, pointing to a fairly strong buyer's market. This is kind of an oddball in the graph here. Between 450 and 5, we break back down into the seller's market. And if you can see their list price to sales price ratio, almost half of the houses that are for sale between 450 and 500 do have an offer on it. Why the increase in inventory, and where should we expect inventory to go over the next couple months? A lot of home sellers choose to refrain from putting their house on the market during the winter months, which, just a little secret here, could be the best time to list your house, to tell you the truth, because inventory is so low. And they wait until that April, May, June, July, August window, which more sales do happen, but there's a ton more inventory, so you're competing with a whole lot more people. So what will we see? Will we see increases in inventory? I believe so. Was this a drastic increase in the 400 to 450 range? Yeah, it doubled in a month. So that was a drastic increase. We want to keep our eye on that. What we find in a shifting market, when we go from maybe a hot seller market in the economy nationwide, and then it shifts into maybe more of a balanced market where inventory levels are between that 5 and 7 mark. What we see in a shifting market is inventory starts to increase, and it generally starts to increase in the higher price points in the geographic area. And anything above 350, 400 is considered a higher price point for Rancho in particular. I hope this helps. If you have any questions or I didn't address something on this page, give me a shout. My phone number is 850-8130. We'll be back with Marches here in a few weeks. All right. Have a great day.